What's happening, everybody? This is my very first fly tying on the channel. I like to do it. I don't really show it on the channel because I usually just tie a couple flies, go fish them, and that's pretty much it. But I've had a couple of requests of like, what do you use for striper flies? And I actually absolutely slayed like 120 schoolie stripers, and that is not a made-up number. I watched the 16 hours of footage of 2 days in Cape Cod, just slaying. And what was happening was I was using a little red and white deceiver and they would not commit. They would come and turn back around, and we were fishing with a couple people, and this guy was slaying them, and he says EP fiber white bait fish, which is this guy right here. So we're gonna tie this to the best I can in the video and show you guys how to tie it. They currently aren't for sale, but if you want one, let me know and I can tie you some up and mail them out for you guys. So I normally have like kind of a recipe that I follow, or a bill of materials from my engineering standpoint of things. So we have Gamakatsu hooks. I don't use really anything else. The great product, and this is the L. I'll leave all the descriptions below and all the like part numbers and stuff like that for all the stuff. That, the original EP fiber, so that's why they call it EP fiber baitfish. Some Danville's waxed. It doesn't really matter the color really that much. And I'm gonna use a little bit of pink craft fur just to create like a little gill plate underneath. This one doesn't really have it, but just a little bit of color change. And the eyes as well. Some new Solarez stuff recommended by the Fly Fishing Forum on Facebook. Give you guys a drop there. I've never tried this stuff, so we're gonna try this stuff a little bit, you know, at the end of the fly, basically. So let's get started. Pull up my sleeves here. Taking out a hook. And this is cheapo vise. This was a vise that was given to me by my brother, who used to tie and doesn't tie anymore. And so I'm using it for now until I can suck it up and buy one more expensive. So we're going to start by covering the shank with some thread. And it doesn't have to be really pretty, I just try to cover the shank. And a lot of that's just for grip for tying stuff on. I'll probably fast forward through this, but I do it all the way to where it starts to drop right there. And like I said, this is a cheapo vise. Pretty much everything is cheap. The fibers probably cost more than this vise. I'll do that right to the back there. Okay. Then I'm going to take the EP fiber, and I'm going to take it all out of the package, which is I know dangerous, but I'm going to break out a couple different sizes. So that's basically my front part, and make sure I kind of roll these back up together, keep them aligned. Like I said, this stuff is expensive, not that it goes bad, but take it another chunk, and I'm just going to make that smaller by doing that. And I'm going to make that a little smaller in the back yet again. And then I basically watched another YouTube video in order to do this. So what I've done is I've actually drawn out what steps to take instead of memorizing them. So I only go tie these like once or twice a year because I don't go to the ocean very often. So that's basically my recipe on how to put everything together. So we're going to take some bigger sections we're gonna basically cut those sections in half. And we're going to tie that right on. To the back there, do a couple of tight loops. And then fold it back onto itself. Remember, you have the start of a tail, and then we're going to take that other half, and we're basically going to do the same thing but under the hook. So normally you would have a rotary vise. I don't have one of those, so I actually just take the fibers, split them in half. Well, normally. Take the fibers like that. I found the easiest way to do it. Lash them on there. Fold them back. And split them in half again. Couple of tight wraps. So like I was saying, we have 2 halves in the back here. I have my little recipe. Can't really share this with you guys on YouTube besides this little picture real quick. It's not a very good drawing, but it helps me memorize the pattern at least, and how many pieces go what and when and where. So we do another half here and 2 laps, and then we can wrap it around so it goes all the way around the shank. And we kind of push that back onto itself. Grab some more. Cut it in half. Spread it around the shank, basically all the way around, and then do a couple tight laps there. Push it back over itself. Button that section down. And if you have a bunch of little wispies like that, just break them off. Stuff's not very strong. And then we go to the quarter-sized. Quarter-sized chunks, in which we do the same thing. We do 1 lap, 2 laps, spread it around, come loosen up the bobbin, tighten it down, spread it back, tighten that down. And like I did before, I'm going to add just a little bit of pink craft fur in there. And that's just to give it a little bit of, tone difference besides just all white. Just for a little color difference. cut any of the extra off that I don't need. Normally I'd be wearing a headlamp, but for video's sake I can't do that. And then we're going to take our last quarter chunk here, put that on there. 2 laps, spread it around. And then I'd like to build up this section of the fly right here so I can get a nice base, and then I'd like to wrap those fibers down into it slowly so it's not kind of like parts the water when it goes through the water, but adds still a little of a thumping motion into the water. And so it looks better. Then you can take your whip finish tool. Put as many turns as you want. Usually like 4 or 5 because it doesn't hurt anything. Do that. And all done. Well, just kidding. So right now it looks like a Yeti, like the mythical creature. That's what somebody told me. Not the cooler brand. So there's a lot of trimming that needs to be done in order for it to look like, like that. So we're gonna basically trim it on all sides, all the way around, to trim it down to a baitfish pattern, basically. So I'm gonna try to show you guys that on camera quite a bit. It does make a mess. And I'm using just cheap scissors right now, that's all I have. But kind of like fluff out the sides, because you won't really be needing those, but you're gonna kind of follow that pattern all the way around. And it does seem kind of weird to like put all that stuff on there and then to cut most of it off, but that's how you create these really cool profiles, is starting with a bunch and narrowing it down after. And I kind of try to expose the hook as much as possible, because last year we had a lot of missed hookups, for lack of a better term, because they were getting more fiber than they were anything else. I feel like a barber when I do this. It's kind of cool. And you can also take a black or a brown marker and do some stripes on it if you want. I usually do that before I start cutting it, so they kind of like fade into each other. And I've also cut these in the field, or on the water basically, because they were too Yeti-ish. I like a big front to it, so that kind of fish can feel that vibration in the water, especially since they're bass. Their lateral line is pretty sensitive. And that pink just adds just a little bit of flash in there, just a little bit of highlight. And you get to a point where you say, I'm just gonna stop cutting it. Whenever you think that's the point, just stop cutting it, because you make it look however you want, really. This might be too much fur, but won't know until we try. Move out the sides here, just expose it a little bit better. And now we're gonna add some eyes to this thing. Using same stuff I showed you before. So these are kind of just stick-on eyes, and I'm using the flex formula because it's got a flex, you know, it's a little oozier, and it goes into the fibers a little bit better. So I'm gonna do it so I can see it first, and then I'll show you guys on the other side. That one there, like that one there. Push it on there, zap it with the light. And I know that's not good for my eyes, so I tend to look away. And that's one side. Some more on there. That's the other side. So this is the UV cure system that I showed you guys before. I'll link all the bill of materials, the recipe below, of course, just so you guys don't have to watch the video 100 times, which is always fun for me, but that's it. And then a little bit of the thin hard formula to, that's too much, to make the front of that fly really durable. Spin that around. And if you have any really wispy guys here in the front, you can just take a lighter and kind of just burn it back. Be careful, otherwise you'll torch the whole thing. So that's, you know, my rendition. It's got kind of a mohawk kind of haircut there. But that's the striper getter in our nutshell. So we were catching like 28-inch stripers last year with these little guys on a fly rod, and like 60 a day. It was insane. Comment below if you like these types of videos. Make sure you like the video, and make sure you subscribe, and I'll be putting more of these out if you guys like them.